Within the Steps tab, very similar view as to what we showed you in the Score tab, except this is not measuring what was measured. This is measuring how we measured it. So this is the different steps that we walked a candidate through during our hiring process. Now, this is fully customizable to meet the needs of any company's process down to the job level. So you basically decide what these steps are when you're setting these job recs up. But what you can see is in this job, we did a pre-screen, then we did a phone screen, then we did an interview. So you can actually see across that same view how the candidate scored. During the pre-screen, really it was just driven by a pre-screen question where he got a 3.3. You can see the actual scores that drove that. Here's the questions he answered. How many foreign languages do you speak? How much prior customer experience do you have? What is the highest level of education you've achieved? With screening questions, because you can actually score the candidate's answers, it'll immediately tell you on a 1 to 5 how the candidate score aligned with your ideal profile. So in this case, he got a 5 on prior customer support experience because you set any answer with 3+ years or more to be a score of 5. You can also see open-ended questions. Why did you apply to this position? You can see the candidate's actually notes that he typed as to why he applied to the position through the screening questions. Now that's the pre-screen. In the phone screen, you can similarly drill down into the different questions that were asked by the interviewer, in this case, Sam, during the phone screen, and access Sam's individual notes on that interview. And even better, when you have multiple interviewers, you can evaluate the different steps and which interviewers did each of those steps and how they thought about the candidate as a result of that step. So in this case, you have an interview step here where Daniel and Spencer did that interview, and you can dive into the actual questions that Daniel and Spencer asked during that interview and how they scored the candidate. So, for example, tell me about a time you experienced burnout, what caused it, how did you handle it? You can see that both interviewers gave this candidate very similar results. But here's a question, give me a specific example from your past that demonstrates you can be counted on, where the interviewer scored the candidate very differently. You're actually able to jump into those notes through a hover over or a click and see how the interviewer justified the score they gave.